there.
Welcome to Haunted Hospitality, Southern Stories Told by Spooky Gingers. I'm Robin.
And I'm Zoey.
And we both have stories for you today.
Because it's still the college palooza.
Woo woo.
If you're loving this, we love it too. So I'm sure you're very excited for this. If you aren't loving this, I'm sorry. Listen in September.
Because this is an August.
Yes, this is an August series.
Yeah, but first, Zoey, before we get into things, how is life?
It's actually great. So as I said in the last episode, we got soup. We being Kari and I, not you. Sorry.
It's okay.
Where'd she go?
She's my cat niece. I have no idea where she went.
Oh, okay. So she was out here, and then I peed, and then, well, in the bathroom. And then now she's not here, so she might have just gone back to sleep. She's a very sleepy kitty.
Okay.
But, so we got soup, and I kind of knew, like, cats, their first couple months, they're, like, acclimating to the new space. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to ask to work from home for the first week. And then I got soup, and soup was very timid in the first week. Like, it took her 3 days to even come out of our bedroom. And so I was like, hey, can I just work another week from home? Because now that she's out and about the apartment, I'm afraid she's going to start getting into things. So my boss was like, yeah, that's fine. Because my boss is great. And then, so at work, we hired 2 new college students. And then we're planning on hiring more people. And when you work for a small business that's sharing a building with another small business, you run out of space pretty quickly. Because, like, you have to accommodate both the businesses' needs. And so they're like, well, Zoe's been working from home. Zoe enjoys working from home. Let's just offer a position working from home permanently. So I'm very happy to announce that I'm working from home for the rest of the foreseeable future.
Woohoo!
I know, I love it because it literally adds like 3 hours back into my day because there's the hour getting ready for work, there's the half-hour travel there, half-hour travel back, and then there's my lunch hour because at work all I did was spend it eating and watching things on my phones, you know? My phone.
All your phones.
All my phones. And so now I can take that lunch hour to actually do something, like clean my apartment or something, you know? And so I'm really enjoying having that time.
Yay.
And also shout out to one of our biggest fans who is my favorite coworker, Don't Tell the Others. She also listens to our podcast, and every week she's like, oh, I love this week's episode.
Oh,
yes.
Nice.
So she was my favorite coworker before we had the podcast. It's not just my ego. Though we did find out that ego equals Leo to me. We found out that Soup's birthday is 2 days before mine.
August!
Yes. So, her birthday is August 17th. Mine is August 19th. I expect many tweets of fan mail.
Tweets of fan mail?
Yeah, just happy birthday. Tweeted at me.
Okay, cool.
Me specifically. I think I'm Glasses Freak on Twitter. I don't know.
That sounds about right.
Listen, I'm a Leo. I need validation from strangers. Please wish me a happy birthday on my birthday, August 19th.
Okay. You heard it here first, guys.
Yes.
Okay, so, speaking of your birthday.
Yes.
I have 2 things.
Yay! Presents!
Presents! I'm gonna take a second of shuffling around.
Oh, no. I love the paper. It's emojis.
So, yeah, the wrapping paper has emojis. So this is going to actually come out, if my math is correct, which to be honest, it might not be. This should come out on Soup's birthday.
Okay.
Which is 2 days before your birthday.
Yes.
So these are for you.
Oh, thank you.
There's 2 things.
Okay.
Open this one first.
The big one first.
The big one first.
Okay, good thing you said that because I totally was going to open the small one.
Yeah, I kind of saw that about to happen, and, like, in my mind's eye, I was like, oh, she's going to open the small one, isn't she?
It's a book.
It is. So you've been talking about things you're reading.
Yes.
And so I figured this seemed up your alley. If you haven't read it already. Have you read it already?
No.
Okay, good.
However, I've been seeing this on book TikTok.
There's a book TikTok?
Yes, it's called Book Talk.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. So, follow the hashtag book talk if you want.
This book is Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard.
Yes, and it says power is a dangerous game. Mm-hmm. Is it gay?
I haven't read it.
Oh, okay.
I read like the first chapter years ago.
Years ago.
Yes.
But yes, thank you. You know, honestly, I've seen this cover before.
Isn't it lovely?
It's so pretty. 90% of the reason I wanted to read this book was because of the cover.
Covers are they're a big part of things.
And is it a circlet? I know you probably don't know. Is it a circlet or is it an upside down crown?
I think that it has to be an upside down crown, but that doesn't also mean that it's not a circlet. You know what I mean?
True.
Look at it, because it looks like it kind of connects in the back.
Yeah. Well, circlet connects in the back as well.
Okay.
It's just, it's where it sits.
Oh, I'm looking at that and I really think that it's an upside down crown.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it's beautiful in 3D. Thank you.
Yes, you're welcome.
Okay, not to underappreciate this one, but I'm going to open the other one.
Yes.
Because the curiosity is getting to me.
You actually already know what it is. Deep in the recesses of your mind, you know.
No, I don't know.
Then you don't remember this conversation.
I don't.
Okay. At Biltmore Estate, we were there, and we were walking around, where the koi ponds were. And I told you I would get you purple cat eye sunglasses. Now, these aren't...
I do remember.
Yes, these are oversized and not exactly as retro as I intended, but they are mirror purple framed sunglasses. And I was like, I'm gonna get them for her.
Oh, it's reflective.
Yes.
So I'm wearing my glasses today. I wish I was wearing my contacts, but...
Oh, you look cool.
Everything's so green.
Really? It's purple.
Everything's green. Like, look at this.
You're right. Everything is super green. Well, okay. Maybe
well, you know green and...
You look purple. You see green, you know? But trust me, I'm actually going to take a photo right now so you can see it. Because you can't take a selfie because that's not allowed, apparently. And, oh, I love this. You look really cool.
Because I am wearing my retro dress right now, too.
Yes, you are 50s embodied. Look at that.
That's nice.
I love that.
Thank you, Robin.
You're welcome. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
3 weeks.
Well, you know what? You're the first person to wish me a happy birthday, so you should feel special about that.
It's always my hope.
Oh, this is kind of creepy, though.
I think it's creepy, too, because I see 2 of me very clearly.
But I can see the reflection of my own eyeballs.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That is weird.
It's so freaky. Oh, my God.
You know what I think you should do? I think you should wear that with your silver third eye man thought costume, just as like a pop of color.
Listen to the last episode if that confuses you.
Okay.
Well, thank you, Robin. Do you think this works?
From the front, yes. From the side, who knows? From the side, maybe not. But, okay. I would like to get into a not terribly long, but filled with good things, something spooky.
Spook us, Robin.
I'm back at it again with my book recommendations.
Woo!
Woo! And let me tell you, because I posted about this early on our social media, and I posted a picture of one of the books I'm talking about, which is We Have Always Lived in the Castle.
And first of all, let me just say, when Robin says early, she means early. Like, she posted this past week in July, and this episode's coming out August 17th, according to Robin's math.
I've developed tiny bit of a different social media angle, so it corresponds with that new angle. But I'm talking about We've Always Lived in the Castle by Shirley Jackson, which is an amazing book. And anyway, I posted it to social media, and everybody was like, either I've read it, it's amazing, or oh my gosh, I've been wanting to read it, it's on my list. Let me tell you, to everybody who it's on their list, just read it. It is so good. And it's like, if I remember correctly, the version I got was 132 pages or something.
Oh, okay.
So it is
not that long.
It's not that long. It is not a dense read, but it is chock full of meaningful things, good things. Trust me, this is a book you want to read. And I am talking about it in conjunction with Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno-Garcia. Have you heard about Mexican Gothic?
No,
Zoe?
You said Mexican Gothic, and I was picturing Gothic architecture with Mexican flair, and I was just like, oh, that sounds so pretty.
Gothic architecture, yes, but the whole thing about Mexican Gothic is like it's almost like an English Gothic story, but like placed in Mexico.
Okay.
Because they literally, like, it is about a woman visiting the family that her cousin married into, who are English and came over from England and built this very Gothic house there. And so she is there visiting, and things go wild.
Okay.
Basically. Mexican Gothic is so good. Both of them are so good, but the reason I'm talking about them in conjunction together, because they are both very different Gothic stories that I are at the same time so similar, because they take very similar tropes with it. Mm-hmm. So when I hear Gothic, and this might not be the correct definition of it, but I think big house that you should not be living in.
No, I don't think that's the traditional definition.
I think big house you should not be living in, with a fall of a family, like the continuing fall from a family that already kind of fell from grace.
Okay. I think of flying buttresses.
I mean, I don't think either has flying buttresses, either house. But I love them both so much. I read We Have Always Lived in the Castle last summer, and Shirley Jackson is just a special kind of brilliant. She's so amazing, and it's all about insularity and, like, I think a lot of Shirley Jackson's books. So to be honest, this is the only one I've read, and I need to correct that immediately. But it's also about, like, being at odds with the surrounding community, and there's just so much packed into this little tiny book, and it's amazing. And there's this one moment, and I'm not saying this as a spoiler necessarily, but I'm just talking about this to talk about the poignancy of her writing. There's a moment when there is what could have been by any other writer done as the big dramatic reveal of something you've been wondering. But in her writing, it's just said at a very crucial point as a simple fact, and it's supposed to be shocking. But when you read it, you're shocked by almost how not shocked you are, because she's been laying the groundwork for you to realize that that was the truth unconsciously. And then you saw it read out in front of you, and you're like, oh, somehow I already knew that. And it is chilling and amazing. Read that. And then I just recently read Mexican Gothic, and it's just so, so good. It did not go in the direction I thought it would. I can tell you that. It is, in a way, haunted. In a way, not, but more haunted than not, definitely. And it is just so good. And it's a very heavy subject, but it's also peppered in the right moments with such a charismatic main character. It's not first person, but it's narrated through a close third person, so you see things through her eyes, and it is just so interesting, fascinating, and there are moments of really good comic relief amidst the darkness. And all I will say at the end about both books is mushrooms. That is
mushroom dance. Mushroom dance.
I don't know what you're doing. But anyway,
Whatever could it mean?
Those are my two book recommendations for my something spooky. I'm not seeking these out to talk about them. I just come across these fantastic books.
Can you tell that Robin likes to read?
Yeah. Okay, so I just wanted to share that. And now we can get into our ghost stories of the episode.
So this episode, we're doing 2 colleges in the state that Robin and I both want to visit, the state of Louisiana.
I'm sorry, did you say Louisiana?
Louisiana.
Oh my god. Okay. So I'm going to go first with my story. And it is about Nicholls State University in Thibodaux, Louisiana.
Woohoo!
Yes. Now, with a flourish of my hand, I just need to let you know. I think a lot of really good ghost stories have 2 parts to them.
Okay.
A history behind it, And then she's putting on her sunglasses. Oh, God. Now I'm just looking at myself twice, talking to myself. You can keep doing that if you want to do it.
It's fine. Okay. It's kind of actually creepy because when I put it on over my glasses, I can see my reflection of my eyes even more.
So we're both just very disturbed by your glasses. Okay. The two parts, though, of a good ghost story. One is the backstory of what happened, the characters, the drama of it all. And the second part is what people can still experience. It's how that story stretches into today.
Right.
I only have one half of that for you.
Okay.
And to be honest, it is my favorite half.
Is it the backstory half?
No. It's what people can find today.
Oh, okay.
Because the thing is, I can't really find a backstory of the reasons these places are haunted that much. But I did, very conveniently, this university has a, pop-up Paranormal Investigation 101 class that comes up every now and then.
Okay.
And they just find things, and the people who do newspapers in the area love to go along on these paranormal investigations and write about what happens, and I am here for it. Woo. So can I just tell you about what's happening at Nicholls State University?
Please do.
Okay. With that lead up, the first place I have to tell you about is Ellender Hall, which is a dorm hall, and actually they didn't go here. So I'm just but I needed to include it in here, so I need to let you know what people are experiencing, and then we can get into what people experience in the paranormal investigations.
Got it.
So, Ellender Hall is a dorm hall that may be haunted by Helen Ellender, whose portrait is in the lobby.
So it's Ellender Hall, haunted by Ellen. Huh?
Helen Ellender. She married into the name. And actually, so the thing I saw said that it was named after Helen Ellender.
Okay.
But I Googled. I figured if it was a place named after Helen Ellender, like a woman, then she was probably pretty prominent and I could Google her and find things out. The only thing I found out about her is that she was married to a guy named something Ellender, who had a Wikipedia page. And so, just so you know, I think it's named after him and not named after her, but her portrait is in the lobby. Mm-hmm. Okay. For the next 2 minutes, content warning for suicide. That doesn't really come up again. Okay. So just next 2 minutes. There's an unverified story that a student who lived on the 6th and top floor of Ellender Hall committed suicide by jumping out of the window and now haunts the place. So the 6th floor is supposed to be specifically haunted. Just so you know, there's no real record of this happening. Okay. So it probably didn't.
Right.
But that's the story behind haunting on the 6th floor. Now, there is one student who said that she lived on the 6th floor specifically, and that she is very open to ghosts existing and believes in them, but never experienced anything herself, so she doesn't believe that it's haunted. Okay. But I also had another student, and this is not on the 6th floor, but she said that she would sometimes hear someone running in the hall outside her door. And then when she would check to see who it was, the hall would be empty. Okay. And that was a disturbing thing to hear. Mm-hmm. In my dorm, I did hear people often walking and running, but also I was right beside the stairs. Mm-hmm. So very possible. And also, it was haunted. Check out last episode. And then she also said that when she'd place things on her bed, they would move around when she stepped away. Okay. Like, not as in you see it moving around, but as in you go back and they're
different places.
They're different places, which is very similar to what you said is happening in your apartment. Yeah. Yeah, because you said your apartment is haunted. I'm very excited. Yes. To learn more about that. So that is the little tidbit of information about Ellender Hall. I just wanted to include that because a lot of people talk about Ellender Hall, about Nicholls State University campus. And now to give you a little bit of information about the paranormal investigations that happen. It is kind of a crash course, non-credit option for people who are not even necessarily students there. So it's just, I think they open it up to the community and you can pay, as of 2013, $60.
$60?
$60.
$60.
Well, I mean, it is a class.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I this is going to be the cheapest class you can find. True. Really. So they go to buildings based on what faculty, students, and staff told them of their experiences. Okay. And I looked up a map of the campus just because I'm like, okay, well, where are these buildings in connection to each other? And they're all very central, and they're all very close to each other. Mm. So maybe it's just like a haunted section of campus, you know? Anyway, so I'm going to take you building through building. I'm going to tell you originally what's known about the building.
Sorry, I was nodding aggressively.
Yeah, you were. I'm going to tell you what's known about the building, the backstory of it, and then get into what people have experienced there. So the first one is Bollinger. I think it's pronounced Bollinger.
Okay.
At me if it's not, or don't, or whatever you want to do. Bollinger Student Union.
Okay.
So, in the computer lab in the student union, janitors say they see shadows going into the walls.
Fun.
Yeah, like you just go into the wall. My guess is you probably disappear into the wall.
Probably.
In another room, a janitor saw a doorknob jiggling, like somebody was trying to open it.
Uh-huh.
But guess what?
Nobody was there.
Nobody was on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
I love when that happens. I mean, not to me, never to me. I don't ever want that to happen to me. That's terrifying.
Uh-huh.
But I do love stories about that. There are 2 supposed ghosts that I have no idea why, and I have no other backstory for, that are supposed to haunt the student union, and they are a girl, like a child, and a Confederate soldier.
Okay.
Yes. So, one time, when they were setting up for their paranormal investigation, it was thunderstorming outside, and I'm telling you that for the ambiance of it. Yes. Thank you.
That's the sound of the rain.
Yes. Kaboom! That was the thunder. I love this part, because it could be anything, but just so you know, they were setting up an infrared camera, and it fell over.
Woo!
Was it spooky? Possibly.
Did they have it a little bit wonky? Probably.
But it could have been a ghost.
Could have been a ghost.
Yes. Now, as for the EVPs, they hear 2 types of laughter. One of them is a child's giggle. And apparently I didn't write what the other one was.
Oh.
So just use your...
A grown man's cackle. Ho, ho, ho.
That's Santa Claus. Okay, so you heard it here first, guys. It's a child's giggle and it's Santa Claus.
Yes.
Those are the 2 EVPs that have been heard. They also hear footsteps and they hear humming.
Okay.
Humming can be so creepy.
Especially since... That's more humming instead of...
Okay. Sometimes, and this is not just the student union, but around campus, the EVPs are actually asking for help.
Oh, no.
I know. And they said that this actually happens quite often. It's pretty common.
They just hear help or help me.
You know, they didn't give any examples.
Oh, okay.
But just so you know, people in general
are asking for help.
Isn't that awful?
That's terrible.
I would hate to hear an EVP that was like, help me, please. Or like actually something in distress.
Right.
I'd much more want one talking about like the last lunch it had.
I'd rather have one talk about like how it's going to kill me.
That comes up too.
Okay.
Don't worry. Now, here's just a little funny little thing. Do you know what a K2 reader is? Because I don't.
A K2?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, I don't know either. But basically, from what I gathered from the news story I read, it is something where it has a light on and you can tell if there's an entity here because the light will change color.
Okay.
And that it's used to communicate with spirits because its blinking of the light will correspond with maybe what they're saying. So like maybe you can be like, get it to blink once if the answer is no, or something like that.
Or if they're post World War II, I think it's World War II, they could do Morse code. Or was that World War I?
Okay, but would your ghost know Morse code for sure? Would you know Morse code?
There are some people who know Morse code.
Okay, yes, you could theoretically use this to do Morse code, but if you are like, if you don't know it,
have a piece of paper that says, okay, 2 dots for A.
Yeah, this is really involved that you're asking the thing to do. Also, you could get a really wrong answer really easily by that.
Yeah.
Anyway, they were going through the student union with these K2 readers, and they were getting some good interaction with it and went into a new area where 3 of them suddenly all lit up at once. Like, they switched colors. They're like, okay, something's here, something's here. And, you know, it's using the blinks and stuff, and it stopped talking after a while. So the blinks died down because they were communicating with it, and it stopped. And the people who were on the investigation, they asked if the entity wanted them to leave, and 2 of the devices went off simultaneously. So my guess is it was like, yeah, I mean, you kind of, I mean, think about it. It's midnight. You're going into somebody's home, and by that I mean the ghost's home, and you're just like, what gender are you? What's your name? Why are you here?
Yeah.
Do you need to cross over?
In classic Leo fashion, I enjoy speaking about myself, so I think I'd be a pretty awesome ghost.
I think they would get a lot out of you.
That's Robin telling me that I talk too much about myself.
No, that is not it. You do not talk too much about yourself. I'm saying that you are bubbly and you like to talk to people, and therefore you would definitely host them and be like, here's what's going on. Do you want to know about the other side? I'll tell you. None of these other people are telling you, so I'll tell you. As
long as there's no such thing as ghost anxiety, I probably would, yes.
So I'm sure ghost anxiety is a thing.
Darn.
I don't think I could be able to lose that. The next place I'm telling you about has 2 names because it was renamed in June of 2020.
Okay.
It used to be Polk Hall, named after Leonidas Polk.
Okay.
But he sucks.
Confederate?
Yes, a major general for the Confederate Army. So it was renamed to the College of Educational and Behavioral Sciences.
Okay.
But just so you know, 1, that is a mouthful, and you'll probably find a lot of things come up in your Google searches. And also, if you do want to Google search any of these places, you will find the actual news stories about investigations and things happening at Polk Hall under the name Polk Hall.
Okay.
So that's what
2020 is pretty recent.
Pretty recent, yeah. Like, they haven't, and also COVID, so I don't know if they've had the time or the space to go and do a paranormal investigation again. So just know, in case I say Polk Hall in accident, I mean the College of Educational and Behavioral Sciences.
Okay.
Now, about this place. The only thing that, because apparently it's like haunted enough that people knew to go to it, but the only thing I was able to find that didn't come from the investigation is people saying that a woman in the library, you'll see a woman in the library and she's dressed like it's the 1970s, and she will sometimes show up and then she will disappear. So keep an eye out if you're in the library in the College of Educational and Behavioral Sciences.
EBS.
EBS. Yes, EBS.
You're welcome.
In Nicholls State University in Thibodaux, Louisiana.
Yes. If you are going there for your first year, next year, keep an eye out and please send us an email if you see anything.
Yeah, I just really want to know. Okay, so now to the investigations. One time they had a camera set up in the building and a shadow actually went by their camera.
Okay.
And the reason they know it was a shadow and not just something by it is because they could see to the other side of the thing. So it was like just, think like a darkness went by, but like a translucent darkness. So like a moving shadow, really.
Okay.
So you can see to the other side of it, so you know, like what can pass by that like you'll see to the other side of. And they were like, boom, that's a ghost or a something. And back to the library real quick, where the woman was. During an investigation, they asked a ghost to show itself, and then the temperature suddenly went down. They didn't have a thermometer out at the beginning to show what the starting temperature was, but when they checked the thermometer, it was at 59.9 and then went down to 59.5. And can I just say, that is cold AF.
Yeah.
It must have gone down, because, like, what place keeps their building at 59 degrees?
Nobody.
They don't, even
especially
at night.
not colleges.
Especially not colleges. You got some money. So that is, to me, meaning that it went down significantly before they checked the thermometer. This happened again, not exactly, but something very similar, in the dean's office. So they were investigating the dean's office, and the temperature went from 70 when they entered to 65.8 degrees.
Okay.
And it seems to be doing it where they are, because they're able to, it's not like you just walk and you're like, man, this place is cold. It's like, it's medium and then it gets cold.
Okay.
So I wonder partially if something is going with them as they go around the building, you know?
Like, hey guys, what you doing?
Back in the library, and you can tell I organized this super well. They got an EVP, and here's what it said. I will kill you
Nice.
I know. It's exactly what you asked for, Zoe.
If you get an EVP, you might as well get one threatening to kill you.
I disagree, but okay. And in a computer room, they heard several voices whispering. That's always fun. Mm-hmm. I love to hear ghost conversations.
Is this the same computer room that the janitor was in?
No, the janitor was in the student union.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah. But it's actually kind of interesting because there's a whole other thing with another computer room in a different building.
Interesting.
There's like a third one, yeah. This next bit is funny because I read a part in an article that said there were slanted windows, and during the investigation, people hit their heads on the slanted windows, and then we're like, sorry guys, that wasn't a paranormal thing, that was just me. I just had to let you know.
Okay. What do you mean slanted windows? Like they weren't straight in the wall?
Like think maybe a windows that are going in at a diagonal. So like you go by, you don't realize it's not just a straight wall, and then you're like, sorry, that was me.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
But shortly after those sounds were heard, they did hear a loud thump.
Oh?
That was not easily explainable, but when the investigation was over, somebody had gone to one of the rooms, like it was like an office, and things were disturbed, specifically, and I think, and I could be wrong, like a typewriter or something was like turned over. And I put in my head, and maybe the article did, but I don't remember it, putting two and two together and being like, okay, maybe that was a loud thump they heard.
Right.
I mean, if it was a typewriter, and I did read that correctly, then that would be loud as all get out.
And I do have to say, a typewriter is a very spooky thing to have hauntings happen to.
Oh, you think?
Yeah, like, I think, like, a typewriter and, like, any type of weapon, you know? Mm-hmm. Or, you know, like... A typewriter, I think, is a very spooky thing.
I love typewriters.
I love them, too. I want one so badly.
Yeah.
But...
I bet you can go on eBay and find, like, 1,000 haunted typewriters.
Oh, that would be so cool. Kari wouldn't let me, though.
No, I don't think so.
No, he doesn't like haunted things.
There is literally a whiteboard up on the table right now in your apartment that has my scribbled, crazy, haunted hospitality written all over it, like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
He didn't pick the correct girlfriend.
No, not if that's his goal. Okay, now I'm going to take you to, and I think it's pronounced Peltier Hall.
Woo!
It could be pronounced something else.
That sounds about right.
Thank you.
It's French because it's
so
in
maybe
Louisiana.
Peltier.
Yeah. Wait, that's Italian. Anyway.
Okay, well, Peltier, that's just what I'm going to go with. It's apparently haunted by a Confederate soldier, another one, and a short man. Just a short man.
Okay.
Just so you know. Now, this is not from a paranormal investigation, but it is a paranormal experience.
Oh.
Yes. A student was in a room with a computer. It didn't say computer room, but it was a room where there was a computer, and a very special computer, that you had to have a key to, like, turn on the server.
Oh.
And it was a key that the professor had, but the professor wasn't there, and the key wasn't in the thing. And this probably college-age student was in the room by themselves, and the computer turned on.
Huh.
Which is, like, you know, impossible, so.
Right.
Yeah.
Huh.
Spooky.
Very spooky.
Very, very spooky. Now, on an investigation in Peltier, this person had a feeling that something was going by his leg.
Okay.
He asked if any spirits had just touched him, and, you know, nothing answered, at least not that he could hear.
Right.
Because a week later, they were going through and analyzing the evidence of the visual and auditory recordings.
Right.
And he heard a yes through the recording that he had not heard in real life.
That's fun.
Yes, so something went by, he was like, did something touch me? And it turned out something did say yes.
I just love that as a ghost, he was like, did something touch me? And they're like, yeah. Yeah, it was me. You can't hear me. Boo.
I love that so much. Okay.
I would be such a great ghost.
You would make a really good ghost. That being said, please don't haunt me.
I have to haunt you at least once.
Okay. Okay.
It'll be a friendly haunt.
Yeah, you wouldn't do anything to really freak me out.
No.
Okay.
And
maybe it would be in a really sweet way. I mean, like, the thing is, statistically, I should die 4 weeks before you.
Okay.
Just because birthdays and things.
Yeah.
Okay, now we're going to Talbot Hall.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Talbot Hall has a lot of EVPs, including one where it was on a paranormal investigation, and they heard someone say, "Call Katie." Except no one named Katie was there.
Did any of them have a spouse or significant other or sibling named Katie?
Funny enough, the article didn't mention that.
Oh, well, that's just rude.
I know.
Well, I feel like if it was the case, they would have been like, oh, my wife's name is Katie, you know?
So I guess we can assume that probably didn't happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. The EVPs there are male and female, and it seems to be across different ages, like a wide range of ages.
Okay.
So there are multiple spirits going on. It's not just one very talkative ghost.
Okay.
A teacher specifically who worked in the building told them not to tell her if they picked up anything outside her door.
Oh.
Which made me wonder if, one, are you just scared that something in general would be near you, or are you worried about your door in particular? Mm-hmm. Dun, 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 dun.
Dun.
Dun. And when the professor of the paranormal investigation class was going around in Talbot Hall, they did go up to the door and they checked the door. And she got an EVP. She didn't hear it at the time. Electronic voice recording. Electronic voice, something that starts with a P.
Phenomenon.
Thank you. And she heard it back later, and she described the voice as sinister.
Ooh.
And it said, "I've got your back. I'm in back of you."
Huh. Okay, so the first one, I've got your back. Friendly, kind, great, awesome. I'm in back of you. I'm going to murder you and stab you.
Like, I'm behind you.
Yeah. But phrased very oddly. Non-humanly.
I know. It's non-humanly. I almost wonder, and this is just me projecting the crap out of this. What if, like, when the teacher is unlocking their door to go into their office, they feel something behind them?
Maybe.
At the door. You don't know.
Or they're, like, at the desk and there's no students and they look up and they just see something there and then it disappears. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Now to my final building I have here. Babington Hall.
Babadook. Sorry.
No, it's not the Babadook. It's just Babington Hall.
Okay.
And this is not from a paranormal investigation. This is actually from a person was writing an article, I think for the student newspaper, but I'm not completely sure which one it was. It was either that or the local newspaper. And it was about hauntings on campus. And then they mentioned a personal experience they had at Babington Hall. They said they were going to drop off some magazines. Ooh. And the door was locked, so it must have been like off hours. But someone was close by. So they had keys to get in there because they needed to go and drop off magazines. But they figured, why hustle for the keys if somebody's right there? So they asked the person to let them in. And it was a woman who they saw through a pane of glass. And then she didn't respond. She didn't let them in. She just looked at them. And then she just walked away. And so they're like, all right, well, I'll get out my keys then. So they get out their keys. And they opened the door and went to deliver the magazines, but they kind of wanted to see, like,
who that lady was.
Okay, so they walked in the direction she did, which was, like, kind of around a corner, and she wasn't there anymore. And it was right then,
Right.
She wasn't there, and they said there was no one in the building. They said, this person says that, like, they don't drive past it anymore.
Wow.
It really freaked them out. Yeah.
Wow.
To think about, like, to not drive past a building, that must be pretty bad.
Yeah. I wonder if they saw something that they didn't tell anyone about,
Like, you think there's another part of the story?
I think that there's something more to the story.
Like, when they went and looked for the woman, maybe they saw something? I mean, they said they didn't.
Yeah, but to think they see somebody then follow them in and not see them anymore.
They did see somebody. It was a woman right there.
Yeah. I know, but, like, if it's a ghost, think they see somebody.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if they see what they assume is a person.
Right.
A real, live human person.
Yeah. And then turn a corner and find out that they aren't in the building, I would be creeped out, but not to the point where I wouldn't drive by the building. I might not go into the building by myself anymore, but to not drive by, to me, feels like an overreaction to just what they've already told you.
That's true, but one thing that, like, you can't always get across through writing, and this is, again, me projecting, you don't always know the vibe people get from something that happened, because, like, you can always, like, technically, like, it can always be like, okay, I saw a woman, maybe, like, there was no weird vibe and it's kind of creepy, but I'm fine, but also maybe it was a really awful feeling there.
Yeah.
And that can influence the situation just as much.
Right. Yeah. I still feel like maybe they aren't telling the whole... I feel like it would be
like
juicier.
That idea.
Yeah.
I kind of like that idea of something. I really like stories, and I'm going to go back to real life ghost stories for a second, just because listen to the first episode if you want something kind of similar, where there is a woman looking at you from inside a building, and this is one of the hosts, Kate. I think her name is Kate. I really should know for sure. But I'm really bad with names. Anytime I watch a movie, I don't know the person's name by the credits. But she had an experience where in the building she worked in, there was a woman looking out at her, and then she went in, and then that woman wasn't there. Mm-hmm. I love stories like that.
Yeah.
And the thing is, in her case, it was a very dark, ominous situation.
Ooh.
Anyway, I love stories like this.
Okay.
I can't get over it. So, Zoey, that is the end of my story, but it's not the end of my segment yet, because I decided I want us to do something.
Okay.
I want us to use this ghost hunting tool I got on my phone.
Okay.
To go around your apartment and ghost hunt and come back with our findings.
Okay.
One thing I have to tell you, I thought that this was going to be like just barely anything ever. I turned this on in my own home, and it was going haywire, and it tries to detect if there's anything speaking to you, and it has a vocabulary list to go with, and it said that somebody was saying, "Father, don't."
Oh, fun.
So I'm creeped out about my own house, but let's see what's up with your apartment.
Okay. We are back.
We explored a lot of your apartment.
Yes.
With this ghost hunting device I have. And by device, I mean a free app I downloaded that I don't actually really know how to work. But there were times when the green bars were higher.
Yes.
In your laundry room, in your bathroom, at the podcast station.
Yes.
And there were times when words happened.
Yes. So it said found, deformed, thought, and then shoot.
Yes. And it just has like a library of about 1,900 words or so that it can try to detect if they're saying anything. I just thought it'd be a little fun excursion for us to make, see what's in your apartment after all these different paranormal investigations.
Yes.
And now we can transition into your episode.
Yes.
Into your story. Part of the episode. I'm still getting used to that.
All right. So I'll try to keep this quick. So I'm doing the Louisiana State University. LSU.
Why do you say it like that?
Because it's fancy. Fun fact, I've done minimal research, but when I did some research, I decided that I wanted to go to this school to get my master's. So until I do further research, this is a school I wanted to get my master's in. Maybe it will be. Who knows, Louisiana State University, or LSU, is in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. It was founded in 1853, but it was originally in Pineville, and then it moved to Baton Rouge after the Civil War. It used to be a military academy. Their colors are purple and gold, which I can jive with. Yes. I'm not that fond of gold, but purple gets me every time. Their mascot is Mike the Tiger. Also, so everybody knows about Hurricane Katrina. So LSU, actually, after Hurricane Katrina, took in a lot of students from New Orleans colleges, and we're like, you're automatically accepted into our college.
Oh, wow.
So that was just like a fun fact that I learned, and I'm like, that's important to point out.
Yeah.
It was nice. So I have 3 dorms to talk about. I think they're all dorms. But the first one is Pleasant Hall. So it was a woman's dorm, and then it was a hotel, and then in the article that I was reading, which was published in 2003, it was undergoing renovations to be used as an office space.
Okay. For the university.
For the university.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. Content warning, suicide. So in the 70s, when it was still a hotel, a woman and her boyfriend were staying on separate floors, but the woman was in her boyfriend's room. They got into a very heated argument, and she pulled out a gun and shot her boyfriend.
Oh, shit.
And then, realizing what she did, she went up to her room 312, and as people know, if you mention a specific room...
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then she shot herself and died. However, her boyfriend survived the shot.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. I mean, she shouldn't have shot him anyway, but, like, she didn't really have to shoot herself because he survived. But honestly, he probably still would have broken up with her. But, so then in room 312 in 1971, a student named Rosemary Maybell jumped out the window due to her recent romantic problems. She also died. While the first story, there aren't really any records, the second story, the one jumping out the window, there are records. So this is the actual thing. And people say, like, that the first woman haunted Rosemary and kind of forced her to get, like, you know, not forced her, but caused the romantic issues and kind of possessed her or made her mentally ill enough to jump out. A little boy wandered away from his summer camp, and he was found staring into room 312. Now, when I first read this, I was like, oh, a little boy, like an 8-year-old? I think it really means like 11 or 12 because of what he says. I don't know why they called him a little boy. When they asked what he was looking at, he described a thin woman in her early 20s with blonde hair, which matches Rosemary's description. And he said that he was looking at the dead, in quotes.
Okay, creepy kid. Creepy preteen.
I'm really hoping it was a preteen, because I feel like an edgy preteen would phrase it like that. But if an 8-year-old phrased it like that...
The thing that has me thinking it was slightly older is them saying mid-20s.
Yeah. Workers claim to see ghosts and bizarre shadows. They hear unexpected voices. They hear unexplained voices. They feel temperature drops and a general uneasiness.
Okay.
Some say they have heard the voice of a girl that sounds like she's in a lot of pain. So it's either the woman who shot herself or the one who jumped out the window. One employee who's going through grad school but also was working there, he was the only person in the building one night because it was shut up. It was, I guess, I'm not sure. If it was a hotel, there would have still been people. Maybe he was the only one in the offices. But he said he was alone. All the doors were locked because he wasn't really supposed to be there, but he would go because he had access as an employee, and he would use it as a place to study. And he's locked all the doors, and then he heard one of the doors opening, voices laughing, and then the door slammed shut, which is like, okay. So, yeah. And then... The elevator will randomly open and close on different floors without being called. And one employee had his granddaughter in the elevator who asked, "Why is that skinny lady in the elevator with us?"
What?
And there was nobody else in the elevator.
I figured that part. Oh my God.
But yeah.
That's terrifying.
Yep. Pleasant Hall.
Pleasant Hall.
Woo!
Not so pleasant.
So I don't think you can stay there. I don't think it's a dorm anymore. So if you're going to LSU, check out Pleasant Hall and ride the elevator.
Ride the elevator.
Play the elevator game.
Oh.
I don't know how many floors it is, though. I doubt it's 10 floors if it was built before the 70s. Maybe, I don't know. But then the next one is Evangeline Hall, and with it being in New Orleans, well, it's not in New Orleans, it's really close to New Orleans, and being called Evangeline, the only thing I can think of is The Princess and the Frog, the lightning bug. He calls have you seen that movie?
The first 20 minutes.
Oh, okay. So the lightning bug has a crush on what he calls another lightning bug, but it's actually like the North Star. Aww. And he calls her Evangeline, and he has a song with her and all of that. But, like, he dies in the end, and, like, there's a tiny little star that appears right next to Evangeline. And they're like, oh, he joins Evangeline. And that was the only thing I could think of this whole time.
That is heartbreaking, but so sweet.
You look like you're actually about to cry because you rubbed your face and now it's red.
I'm just so emotional about the little cricket.
He's a lightning bug.
Lightning bug.
Okay, so Evangeline Hall is one of the oldest dorms on campus, and it's a woman's only dorm. The building is so haunted that some students have invited priests over the years to bless and exorcise various rooms.
Oh my goodness.
I don't have any backstories on this, but one student says that she has walked down the halls and felt like she passed a man in the hall, but there was nobody there. And also, it's been a woman's dorm since it's been conceived, you know?
Oh.
Right. And then people hear laughing with no source. There's, like, nobody that could be laughing. There's a male janitor that haunts the 5th floor, and he'll walk through doors and walls, just chilling. And then on the 4th floor, it is dimly lit, and there is a sinister ambiance. And there is actually room 409, and there's 2 girls who haunt that room, and you can hear them laughing at night. And it's like, you'll go into the room, and it sounds like a sudden hush, kind of like when you walk into the room and somebody has just been talking about you, kind of thing.
Oh.
Yeah. So I feel like it's like 2 gossipy teenage girls going, you know,
which
so
is definitely
quirky.
a voice that teenage girls have.
I was a teenage girl once. I know exactly what they sound like, and they sound like hoo.
You never sounded like hoo.
But anyway, and then the last one, I actually read this as Arcadian Hall, and I typed it in my notes as Arcadian Hall over and over again, but it's like Acadian Hall. There's no R.
Okay.
Acadian Hall was built in the 30s. It's also a dorm. However, in 1998, there was a fire, and all the articles I could find said, like, they were Spanish-speaking workers. And I'm like, I don't really know why that's relevant. But they're like, oh yeah, Spanish-speaking workers, and they all died in the fire. And the only thing I could think of is, like, people were saying, run, there's a fire, in English, and they spoke only Spanish, so maybe they didn't run. I don't really know. Or maybe people were just saying it because they were saying it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So apparently a lot of the employees did not make it out alive.
Ugh.
Yeah. So students often see people with dark skin and wavy hair walking through the halls. They will often disappear around corners and through locked doors.
Mm.
Men in navy suits and slicked hair are also seen at night, and girls in white dresses are seen walking through the hallways and looking out of windows.
Interesting.
So it's a lot of ghosts in this one building.
I'm getting that, yeah.
Yeah, but it honestly seems more apparition focused than event focused. I mean, there's a couple things. There's computers, like if you just have your computer there, it'll randomly start playing games without a human touching them. And I kind of like that because it's like the ghost is like, I'm gonna pull up Pong, you know? Also, cabinets will fly open without anyone in the room. So people will be like, what's that sound? And they walk in and it's like, a cabinet's open. And then one RA was alone in a room and she saw a table rocking violently in front of her without touching it. Like, it was like shaking like crazy.
Ooh.
Yeah. But, so that's Acadian Hall.
Okay.
And those are the 3 stories from Louisiana State University that I was able to find.
Thank you for sharing.
You're welcome, and thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
And also thank you for talking to the ghost buddy that lives in my apartment.
Oh, yeah. They had some things to say.
Yeah.
All right, well, guys, if you enjoyed today's episode about the colleges, haunted colleges of Louisiana,
Yes.
please like, rate, subscribe, review, tell a
tell a
friendo, because that is the best way to get the news about your favorite podcast out to other people. Not necessarily saying we are, I'm just giving you hints about what to do with your favorite podcast, whoever they may be.
We are your favorite podcast. We are your favorite podcast.
I mean, hopefully you like us if you got to this point.
You are our favorite. Wait. We are your favorite podcast.
Oh, okay.
Well, if you guys have any stories to tell of your own, any spooky stories, please submit them to hauntedhospitalitypodcast@gmail.com. We would love to hear them. Even if you don't want them right on the show, we still want to hear them. Also, if you want to see our sources and a blog that we have to figure out how to write since there's 2 of us telling stories, you can go to hauntedhospitality.wordpress.com.
If you are on the Twitter sphere, you can find us at Haunted Hosts. You can also find us on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Haunted Hospitality. We would love to see you there.
Stay spooky and stay in school. Woo-hoo-hoo!